I have to say the applause really works. All this good energy coming at you, so thank you for that. I really appreciate it. I am going to talk about business design. And in a day like today, you're probably thinking this is the foreign topic. What I hope you find is that this is from a different center than the work that you all do, but that they are very related and they have common objectives. And so hopefully something will be intriguing and useful as we go through this, this discussion. So 21st century leadership. Mentioned earlier, we are no longer in the industrial age. We're no longer in mass production and scale as the way to win. It's changing. Connection world could be one way to look at it. People getting in community and connection with one another. Whatever you label it, because there are a lot of labels that go with the transition that we're in, it's changing. And it's changing rapidly. And leaders today need additional skills to what they had before. And so while I would not say get rid of analytics, get rid of the disciplines that we have, I'd say add more tools in your tool belt for the 21st century. And so these are the tools that I think need to be added. Framing, how you look at things. How abstract is your frame or how narrow? Businesses for years in an economy of scale and mass production were very narrow in their focus. Contextually very focused on the thing at hand. I think there's real value in leadership today to broaden our view, to look at more going on than just what's at hand, because it's so interconnected and so linked. So how you lens that frame is critical. Knowing what your frames are, because we all have them. We all have experiences. We all have baggage. We have frames. And so being more conscious of those frames is a critical 21st century skill. Framing. Second one is empathy. There's a lot going on in the literature about empathy. And Bob Johansen from the Institute of the Future that predicts and does P&G's 20-year forecast of change has been talking about bioempathy. So not even just empathy for each other, but empathy for the overall system that is our world and what you can learn from that. Dave Patnick, who is Jump Associates Managing Director and a designer in his own right, a professor at Stanford University, talks about empathy, and he wrote a book about empathy, which showed that winning businesses, it's called Wired to Care, it shows that winning businesses have huge empathy skills. The leaders have empathy. And then the third one is curiosity. I think this is probably one of the most scarce resources in business today. Business is a knowing culture. They want to know answers, they track things, they have tons of data. And I'm not saying get rid of that ability, but I'm also asking that leaders get more curious. Lean into the dissenting point of view in the room when you're debating what to do in a business. Lean into what makes you uncomfortable and explore it because there's potential there. So framing, to me, is probably of the three for senior leaders the most mind-opening and gets you the other things, right? So if you can start to be more conscious of your frame and start to frame challenges from different lenses, these other things begin to get invited in. So to me, framing is one of the most relevant. And I believe that in general, we tend to frame things in the simplest way that is more concrete. So if someone cannot see, we say they're blind and their eyes don't work, and therefore it's a seeing problem. Is it? Is it really, maybe in a more abstract definition, a navigation problem? How to safely navigate the world that you live in. So if it's a seeing problem, it's about surgeries to the eyes and can you fix the eyes. If it's a navigation problem, it's about empowerment. Daniel Kish framed it as a navigation problem. He is a blind man that can ride a mountain bike in the mountains. How come? Why can he do this? Because he didn't imagine that it was just about his eyes being faulty. He's been blind since 18 months, I think. He saw it as a navigating the world, and he tapped into his whole brain and echolocation as a skill to retrain his brain to see shapes and forms through sound. His ears work fine. And he trains people how to have a full life, navigating freely, because he reframed the challenge. What frames do we and our leaders carry with us that limit these possibilities, that limit the discovery of a way to empower tons of people? He's worked with hundreds of people to empower them to a freer life of navigating their world. This was a framing issue. Empathy. Empathy is really about caring about the other person and getting there by being willing to be open and to go deeper with them than is comfortable sometimes. When a business person approaches a problem, their default is to say they're a target consumer and I want them to do this. So they're very clear about what they want. So in terms of intention, they've got it. But the missing ingredient, I think, is understanding why the other person might need it, or even more importantly, what else is there that that person might need that I could deliver? And I think that's where empathy comes in. So move from a self-driven motive to an other-driven motive to look where the connections are. And for me, this is what Apple did as I decided to embark on moving from a PC world to a Mac world. You know, as a 24-year veteran of being in the business world and a PC world, I was scared to death about moving to Mac, and yet I wanted the freedom I thought that it would deliver to me. But how could I go it alone? That journey looked frightening. Enter Apple One-to-One. I don't know how many people know Apple One-to-One. How many people love Apple One-to-One? Okay, because they understand what's in it for you, and what the fears are, and what the obstacles are that are in your way. And they give you something at a very affordable price, like less than $100 for a year subscription, to have one-on-one time and class time to make that journey together with them. It is not their genius bar. Everyone has a customer service bar to fix issues. This is about you and what you want. So when I was speaking at a conference in Orlando in October, it was my first time presenting on an Apple. And I was really frightened because I knew exactly how to get what I wanted on the screen with my PC. And the people at One-to-One worked with me in the weeks leading up to that to get me so I was ready. And they cared that I did a good presentation in Orlando. And that to me is empathy. What power our businesses could have if they would just take the time to understand what's really needed and then see what they could deliver. And it's good business, as Dave Patnick has shown. And for Apple, since they've gotten me into their Mac world, I've bought 4 additional Apple devices in the last year. It's good business. Did they sell me and tell me I needed them? No. I saw what it could do for me, and I felt that they understood me, and I felt confident that I could make that transition. Empathy. Curiosity, the one I said is, I think, going to be the death of us. Business values knowing the answer. And there's a lot about who's right in the room. And I believe that curiosity is where surprise and innovation are. Aidan Dwyer is a teenager who noticed that trees have a Fibonacci sequence in them, and he wondered why solar panels don't tap into what trees do, because they collect sunlight just like trees collect sunlight. And so he did an experiment and discovered he could get more effective solar collection by using a Fibonacci sequence. He did it in his own time because he was curious. And he put the world in this crazy tailspin in the solar world. And now he has lots of investors and trying to do his research, et cetera. But you know, he's just a normal kid. He's the same age as my son. He's just a kid who was curious. Where is our childlike curiosity, and how do we instill that in our business leaders? So, Brave New World 21st Century is defining a problem, the old world defining a problem, the consumer understanding from your point of view, the knowing culture to a culture of framing what they might be, the empathy to care, and of course the curiosity to ask why or what if. So, business design. It's the ability to leverage design methods and mindsets and tools in classic business decisions like branding and strategy, innovation, communication. It's been widely applicable in the military. It's being used in education. It's being used in healthcare very successfully. I've been working with a hospital that's applying it to patient experience and improving outcomes. And the skills that get leveraged are some of the ones I shared today, which I think are the key to building 21st century leadership skills. Thank you all.